Welcome back to the vlog and welcome back to beautiful Papua New Guinea. We're out today at a jungle runway and we're heading back to Goroka, but on the way we're going to go ahead and stop by another place just to a flyover and check to see if they've cut the grass, because I'm going in there next Monday and I want to make sure that it's cut before I waste my time going out there. So let's go ahead and get started and get on our way. Alright, igniter's on, fuel pump is on, everything's back and low start. I just shut down a minute ago, so I'm letting the ITT get all the way down below 200 before I introduce my fuel. Otherwise it has a big loud pop in the compressor when I introduce the fuel. Alright, ITT's coming up a little bit quicker this time just because it's already hot. This just let me know my alternator and generator are turned off, if you're wondering why that beeps. Alright, generator's on. Prop forward, alternator on, aux bus. Strobes, landing, and pulse light in our V2 tracker. 20 degrees of flaps, and set up my trim for takeoff. But let's get these blowers going because it's so hot. Got 101 degrees, 100 degrees in here right now. Yeah, it's a little warm. Anyways, my name is Ryan, and I hope you guys enjoy this flight. I'm going to be flying up the Jimmy Valley, and it's just such an incredible, beautiful valley. And so you guys don't want to miss out for that because it's a really, really cool valley on the way back to Goroka. All stations Madiyama 126.7 November Tango Echo, taxiing Madiyama for Goroka 11,000. Alright, everything is clear, there's no kids around. If you're interested in watching a landing at this place here, I have another video up here if you guys want to go check that out. It's a swamp landing is what I called the video. It looks like they just cut this just recently, maybe last week, and then all these burn marks you're seeing out on the runway are just, yeah, all the leftover grass. They pile it up and then burn it. It's a lot easier than raking it off, I guess. And then it just kind of slows the process down for just more grass to grow up. All right, we'll go ahead and line up, and then we'll start going through our checklist. Caps are good, and selectors are both on. Our controls are good. Our TAWS is now turned off, which is our train awareness, so that Betty doesn't yell at us when we take off that there's train ahead. Which is an instruments. We're empty today, so my aux page tells me my weight. So right now with the amount of fuel I have on board, I'm at 5450. So rotate speed is going to be 54. I set that up with my timer reference. Come down to my VREF. Actually come on down here to the V climb. That's going to be our rotate speed today at 54 knots. And our VREF is 65 if for some reason we had to come back in and land. Initially we'll be just remaining under 5,000 feet to Untitled, where we're going to go check the grass. And then we'll jump up Jimmy Valley and then we'll probably just go up to 900,000 and go up the Wagi Valley up by Mount Hagen area. Because if you do, you can't really do a direct track because, well, there's just a lot of, let me just bring it up and show you real quick why. So I'm starting out here just kind of on the edge of the sea peak where the little blue dot is, and I'm going to be flying over here to Untitled and then up this valley here. So let me get so we start here, fly up, and then we fly up this little valley here, and then more than likely we'll kind of come up that way down the Wagi Valley onto Chimbu, and then onto Goroka. Now the reason why I'm specifically going down this way is because all these mountains right here are like 12, 13,000 feet, and then goes all the way up to like 15,000 feet right there at our highest mountain that we have, Mount Wilhelm. So anyways, that's kind of the track I'll be doing today because, yeah, all the mountaintops have usually build-ups and weather, and it's just impassable this time of day. Finish up this, we did our switches and our instruments. Our flaps are set at 20 indicated and verified on both. Our trims are set. We're going to be 40 knots because we are empty. We're going to be 40 knots by the burn marks right up here. If we're not at 40 knots or we need to stop for any other reason. It's full reverse, heavy braking, flaps up, cut off, pull off, and shut off if we are going off, and crack our door. If we're going off for any reason, we'll just go straight ahead. At the end of the runway, or if for some reason we had to go off for any other reason off to the side, Both sides are pretty much the same, but I go off to the right side because there's some houses on the left. All right, igniters are on. Strobes, lights, bypass. Can't get SAR today. I don't know what it is with the past like 2 weeks. We cannot get a hold of search and rescue with HF. I don't know if there's a sun flare. Maybe you HF guys know, you can leave a comment down below. There is something going on and it's just not working. All right, we are 35 degrees and sea level pretty much. So 1520, so 1470 for 1520. All right, ignition condition, flaps 20, fuel and harnesses. 1470, rotate 54, and that's checklist complete. All right, 1470. There we go. And a tiny bit of back pressure. There's 40 knots, here's the burn mark continuing. There's 50, 54. Just kind of lower the nose, get my speed up, and then climb on out. 740 on the ITT, and just climbing out around 80 to 85 knots. All right, beautiful lake out here. I've actually spent some time out here a few years ago for a weekend. It was really, really hot, but it's a really cool little lake. There's lots of crocodiles in this lake. All right, we'll make a 180 and start climbing up to 5,000 feet. Over 85 knots. Reduce to 10 degrees of flap. Pull back a little bit on the yoke, just a tiny bit as the nose wants to drop down. Then over 90 and climbing. We'll go 0 degrees of flaps. Our passing just through 1,000 foot now. Bring our prop back down to 2,000 RPM. Which brings our ITT from 740 right down to 720. We're very, very close, so I've got 5 more degrees to pop it down just a little bit more. So Yambaitok is the first place, and I think it's about 20 minutes away. Something like that, so let's get cleaned up first. Turn our landing light off, our engine inlet into normal, and our igniters are turned off. All right, our speed's up to 130 knots indicated now. I'm gonna bring my torque on back, and because we're pretty close to sea level, we're only 2,200 feet, rather than bringing my torque back to 1,250, I'm actually gonna go off of my fuel flow and bring that back to 320. The reason being is we do all of our calculations off of a fuel flow of 320, and because I'm closer to sea level, I don't need as much torque to produce as much power, so I'm only at 1,120 pounds of torque, but I'll still be cruising nearly at the same speed anyways. Let's go ahead and do our departure call. Let's see if I can actually get a hold of them or not. Midday 126.7 November Tango Echo. November Tango Echo departed Madiyama, time 3-5. Tracking to amended reporting point Yambaitok. Tracking 114 on climb below 5,000. Estimating overhead Yambaitok 55.
Destination Goroka.
Affirm. Destination Goroka, November Tango Echo.
Tower report, Yambaitok QS 1010.
1010, report again, Yambaitok, November Tango Echo. Right, amazing, we actually got a hold of them. I've been struggling to get a hold of these guys all day today, it seems. I'll put this little map up here, up in the corner, just so you guys can follow along. If you guys do like that, leave a comment down below if you like it. If you think it's annoying and think it's not really necessary, I think it's pretty cool because you can kind of follow along and get an idea of a little bit more where I'm going and the valleys I'm kind of going up. It gives you just a clearer picture, I think. So if you do like it, leave a comment down below. I'd really appreciate it. So if you guys want to fly this after you've seen this video and you think, oh man, that'd be so cool to fly on my sim, I'll leave the details down below where you guys can start like your flight right in this area and then fly up the valley. It's super pretty. It's just a really nice wide valley, not a lot of trees on the mountains. Really, really cool looking. So just go down in the description down below if you're interested in doing something like that. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and bring up the strip chart here just so we know what the altitude we're going to. Yambaitok. The elevation is 500 feet, so I can set this up here I'm going to set it at, I think, 1,100 feet is going to get me, basically I'm going to fly over top of the field down this valley and then just drag the airstrip 20 degrees of flaps and 80 knots so that I can see if it's cut and I have a little more time to maneuver, and that way I'm basically maneuvering the same way I would be as if I was just taking off out of there. The runway is going to be runway 21 and 03, so you can't really see we're going to come around the mountain and then basically come like we were taking off on runway 21. All right, we're just 6 miles out. I told Madang that I'd be there at 5.5, which is in about 10 seconds. So before I get further on into this valley, I'm going to go ahead and report where I am and let him know where I'm heading up next. Madang 1267, November Tango Echo position.
November Tango Echo, Barangay.
November Tango Echo, Yumbai talk this time. I'll climb 900,000 for the Tremont Gap. Estimating Tremont Gap 16, following the Wagi Valley for Goroka. Estimate Goroka 42. November Tango Echo.
November Tango Echo, will you be tracking inside the Tremont towards the Hagen zone or the outside of the Tremont?
Stand by. He wants to know if I'm going to be going into Hagen's airspace at all. I'll stay outside of it. November Tango Echo will be remaining OCTA.
November Tango Echo, call again on in the Tremont.
Call again to beam Tremont, November Tango Echo. All right, so yeah, he was just wanting to know if he needs to transfer me over to the Hagen Tower, but I'm going to be really close to the edge, so I'm just going to stay out of their airspace as I go by. Should be no issues. It's a beautiful day out. So Yumbai Talk's just right there. What we're going to do is going to fly around the valley and then fly down the airstrip at 80-20 setup. So I'm going to get my prop forward. And that way I can get a nice long look to see if the grass has been cut from side to side the full length. We had some issues out here with the grass not being cut and then the people on the ground giving the wrong information to our people that want to go there. It looks like they've cut the whole thing, but I really want to make sure because I don't want to waste another flight out here. All right, below 138 knots with margin, we go 10 degrees of flaps. Got my prop full forward. We'll go 20 here shortly, and slowing down to 80 knots, we'll go up this little tight valley and then fly on down right over top. All right, 20 degrees of flaps. I've got 11 knots coming up the valley, so my climb out should just be really easy. It might be bumpy just on the other side of this hill as well. All right, there's 87 knots.
500.
Looking for 80 to 85 knots. There's an updraft. And there's the bumps and downdrafts. I'm actually going to bump it up to 85 to 90. Give myself a little bit more margin. It's because of the potential downdrafts. Right. That's me all around. Alright, get off to the side a little bit so I can see. Alright, it looks like it has been cut. There's one section right there that for some reason they didn't cut very well. I'm not sure why, but the rest of it looks really good though. Alright, power up. 720. Just gonna go straight ahead rather than trying to turn until we're at a good altitude. At 20 degrees of flaps, climbing at 1,800 feet. I'm well clear of that, so I'm gonna go ahead and make my turn out. This is why, guys, you guys practice your 45-degree banks and keeping yourself coordinated. We actually do it all the time. All right, so we're going to go ahead and follow up this Jimmy Valley here. There you go, 10 degrees of flaps. We're at 110, so go 0 and bring my prop back down to 2,000 RPM. This is a Jimmy Valley as it goes up. And like I said, if you want to fly this on your sim, it's a really, really pretty valley. You can fly away up or fly back down. And yeah, just gorgeous, gorgeous views. The river, it's probably not quite the same on a simulator. You don't have quite the detail, but nonetheless, it's just such a gorgeous place to fly. All right, it's smoothing out now. We've got 4 knots. We'll remain at 2,000 in our slow climb up to 9,000 like we told Madang. Pretty much you can follow this river all the way up, and that's pretty much what we'll do, just so we can stay out of the Mount Hagen airspace. We'll follow this river all the way up here, and then we'll jet across over top of the Tremont Gap, or I think it's called the Camel Gap, just up the way a little bit further, into the Wagi Valley, and then we'll follow the Wagi Valley up to Chimbu and to Goroka. And that's probably going to be the easiest route that we can have. I mean, again, it's gorgeous out today, but you can see there's just a lot of clouds on tops of the ridges, touching the ridges. So getting from one side to the other is a little bit more difficult, and probably the cloud tops today are going to be probably 14 to 16,000 feet. So it's easier just to shoot for the gaps and then just go up the big wide valleys. All right, we're at 9,000 now. Up our map so we can see where we are according to the Hagen space. We're going to just stay outside of that. So we're basically kind of more tracking for the Camel Gap. I'm level at 9,000, so I'm going to go ahead and bring my torque back down to 1,250 foot-pound of torque. My prop's still set at 2,000. It looks like we might be able just to pop right through, directly through the Camel Gap, staying right at 9,000, so that'd be great. Day 120.1, November Tango Echo.
Tango Echo, very good.
November Tango Echo, beam the Tremont Gap at this time. Heading for the Camel Gap on climb amended 1,000. Estimating Goroka, time 50.
Oh, Tango Echo, Roger, number 1,000. You tracking what? You tracking towards Yabal, then Goroka, confirm?
Affirmative, tracking towards Yabal, Chimbu, then Goroka, via the water bunk.
We're traveling into Hagen, Papua New Guinea, it's a Q400 Dash, mostly Mount Hagen. Bus Guku is tracking for the Guku and Arabol. It's going to track over at Chimbu, Yabal, then direct into Hagen, where the Wagi. We'll be descending from 240, Hagen estimate 25.
Copy traffic, November Tango Echo.
November Tango Echo, good day, supply check back on 1201. We're showing 22 GPS miles to Hagen in the Wagi. We're breaking off the Guku 19 arrival now, tracking towards the southern end of the Wagi Valley. Now through 14,000, we'll level 13,450.
Copy all, and November Tango Echo is currently 18 miles to the north-northeast. Currently 10,000 on climb 1,000. We'll be tracking for Yabal, pretty much a beam Tremont Gap at this time. November Tango Echo.
6 Quebec, thanks a lot. Just confirming on air QNH 1012.
Affirmative.
We'll do the same thing.
All right, so he's coming in more from that way, coming into the valley and working his way down. So now that I'm kind of just over top of these, I'm just going to go ahead and drop back in. I can see the traffic. He's more up towards that area, and he's still about 2,000 feet over, so all stations in the Wagi Valley. Kodiak November Tango Echo is now leaving 1,000 on descent 9,000, tracking Chimbu, Goroka. I go ahead and make an area call because this is a fairly busy area. All stations of Wagi Valley 120.1, Kodiak November Tango Echo, overhead Chimbu non-standard 8,500, tracking Goroka via the water bung. Estimating Goroka circuit 45. There's a lot of helicopters that track from Goroka on up to Mount Hagen in this area, so because I'm kind of at a non-standard altitude, because I'm going to be descending here in just a couple of minutes anyways. 45, November Tango Echo.
Contact Tower 15 miles.
Contact Tower 15, November Tango Echo. And we're about 20 miles out, so I'm going to go ahead and start up my checklist. Selectors and brakes are good. Our TAWS is turned off currently. Our VREF, our approach speed, yes, it is bumpy. 5,000, So at the slowest, we'll do 61 knots. I'm going to be coming in the water bung, which basically just means like where the heads of the water is. Basically, like bung means to like group together, and water obviously means water. So anyways, I'm heading to the water bung and he's heading to the caw-caw. He's getting there 4 minutes after me, but again, I'm just going to let him know that I'm going to be tracking for the water bung. All stations, water bung area and caw-caw gap, November Tango Echo. From Chimbu Goroka, 8,500, tracking for the water bung Goroka 45. And set up my 118.7 for Goroka Tower. We'll call them now, we're at 15 miles.
Echo, Bravo Juliet at Delta, we are inside the money and then local get over Goroka. 38.45, we are right at 4-9.
Copy all, November Tango Echo. All right. Goroka Tower, good afternoon, November Tango Echo.
November Tango Echo, Goroka Tower, good.
November Tango Echo, 15 miles to the west. 8,500 on descent via the water bung. Copy traffic, Nomani Goroka via the caw-caw.
November Tango Echo, QNH 1017. Runway 35 right and a second left base, report on plan.
1017, track report left base 35 right, November Tango Echo. Alright, our VREF has been set up. We'll throw our bypass on and our light is on. Board if we do need to go around, we're power up, 20 degrees. It's for 73, maneuver as required, come back around. Alright, prop and harness, we'll do harness here. Autopilot off and start our descent. I'm gonna go ahead and OBS the runway. Not that I need to, but it's a good habit. Makes it easier. I can see the line for the runway. I'm within 11 miles or so. I'm gonna go ahead and slow down because these hills are notorious for super bumpy.
Runway 35 right. Turn second left base, report on base. Confirm aware of November Tango Echo. Hi Sam, we are aware of November Tango Echo 1017. We'll report back left base, 35 right, Bravo Juliet Echo.
Now that we're kind of past most of the bumps usually, I'm going to go ahead and speed back up so that our arrival time isn't any later than what we told them, because we have another airplane or helicopter, I'm not sure, coming in just 3 miles that way. And Tower November Tango Echo is 4.5 miles out at this time.
November Tango Echo, roger. Break, Sierra Delta Foxtrot, confirm you'll be doing run-ups on the runway, or just want to use the runway?
Negative for reposition for Sierra Delta Foxtrot.
Roger, clear the taxi by the runway 17 left. Advise when vacated.
Clear to taxi 17 left, will advise when vacating. Sierra Delta Foxtrot.
Below 138 knots, 10 degrees of flaps. My landing light on, bypass in, flaps to go. Turning final 5,600. November Tango Echo entering left base, runway 35 right.
November Tango Echo, continue approach.
November Tango Echo. Alright, below 120 knots, 20 degrees of flaps.
And Bravo Juliet Delta has November Tango Echo visual, we have 5 miles to run.
Pretty high, so I'm going to go full flaps.
Bravo Juliet Delta.
108 knots.
Runway 17 left. Correction 35 left. Change the runway 35 left, Bravo Juliet Delta. Bravo Juliet Delta, you'll be in between the lane sequence. Bravo Juliet Delta.
Right, 161 at the slowest. Because I'm going to have a 5 knot quartering tailwind on landing, I'm just going to come in at 70 knots. Because there's going to be some downdrafts and stuff, so it's like a 2,500 foot or more runway, so no dramas.
At Tower Sierra Foxtrot, vacated 126.
Sierra Delta Foxtrot.
Alright, flaps are done. Let them know we're turning final. Tower November Tango Echo, turning final 35 right.
November Tango Echo, 35 right, clear to land.
Clear to land 35 right, November Tango Echo. There's 70 knots. And just now 2 knots, quartering tailwind.
And further to the left base at 35 and left. Roger, the left. 435 left, number 2, continue approach.
Right over the hump.
Number 2,
whoa.
approach, Bravo Juliet.
That was kind of weird. I feel like a last minute gust right as I...
Proceeding,
This is like 3 feet off the ground.
35 left, clear to land, and cross 35 right.
Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that flight. I know I did. Beautiful weather out. A bit bumpy, but overall, really nice flight. So thank you guys for taking the time to watch this. If you do like it, leave a comment down below, give it a thumbs up. I really do appreciate all of your support for this channel, so thank you.